You guys, just bear with me with this whole filming setup. I know you guys don't like when I'm holding the mic because it makes it look too formal. I don't like it either, but that's what we're working with right now as I am transitioning into moving into my new place. That's gonna take a while. Bear with me. And I'm sitting on my desktop right now. I just have no interest in alcohol anymore. Will that change in the future? I don't know. But this whole year, I've just felt like been there, done that, done with that. I'll tell you how and why I came to that decision, but first let's get some backstory. Let's talk about alcohol. How common is alcohol? Social and cultural aspects influence our alcohol consumption. Here in Sweden, 38% of 9th graders said they had consumed alcohol in the past 12 months, according to an article from 2022. For high schoolers, that number was 67%. 6% of students under the age of 14 said that they had been drunk. In the year of 2000, that number was 20%, so that's quite a drastic decrease. The numbers are actually the lowest that they've ever been. Now, why do we drink? Here are some reasons. We often drink because it's expected. It's the norm. Alcohol is everywhere. TV, music, photos, parties, restaurants, ads. It makes it seem like this natural thing that everyone is doing. We drink to fit in. When you're young, especially, this need to fit in plays such a role in our lives. If your friends are drinking, you might drink because you don't want to be the odd one out, the prude. And if you're in a group setting and everyone starts getting intoxicated, you don't want to stand out as the sober, boring one. We drink because we're curious. When you're a teenager, you might have seen adults drink, and so you wonder, I wonder what it's like to be drunk. What am I like drunk? We drink to gain bravery and confidence. Perhaps you're a bit shy, and so when you drink, it makes you more social. Perhaps you're quite insecure, and so alcohol gives you a confidence boost. And maybe you feel like you need that confidence boost before your date or the party that you're about to go to, or whatever situation is. With that though, we could potentially drink to sort of have something to blame. We're generally more okay with embarrassing ourselves if we can say that we were drunk. We're also more okay with taking risks because if something does not go as planned, you can always blame it on alcohol, on not being ourselves. We kind of distance drunk us from sober us, which, by the way, it's the same person, but somehow that makes sense in our minds. I think we assume people will be more forgiving if we'd had a few drinks. We drink to have fun, to lätta på stämningen, as we say in Swedish. Studies actually do show that drinking alcohol is associated with considerably greater happiness at that moment. Alcohol alters our emotional state, making you feel relaxed, less stressed, less anxious, and it can give you the happy hormones, dopamine, serotonin. Those will increase. Not everyone experiences that, but a lot of people do. We drink to escape reality when we're not feeling well and want to numb those feelings. Now I'm going to share with you my personal experiences and why I've decided to quit, or simply why I don't drink. I know this can be a sensitive topic to some people. In 2021, in the United States, 29.5 million people ages 12 and older had alcohol use disorder. It's very serious, and for those struggling, please get professional help. This video is not meant to replace that at all. I'm just sharing some of my personal experience. And if you decide you would like to get therapy for any reason, really, it doesn't have to be related to this topic, BetterHelp, who I've chosen for our sponsor today, can be a good place to start. They make finding a therapist easy since it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, you can be matched with a therapist in as little as a few days. You can easily sign up and get matched with a therapist. I've left a link for that in my description box. It is betterhelp.com/Lana. And clicking that link does also really help support this channel, but it does also get you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so that you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little bit like dating, it's not always the right match, it's easy to switch therapists if you need to. Now, if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Use the link in my description box or visit betterhelp.com/Lana. Thank you again so much to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. Now let's give you some background. So I've never really been a big fan of alcohol overall. I can probably count on one hand, maybe two hands, the number of times that I've been like, whoa, okay, I should definitely not have more. And why is that? Several reasons, but to mention a few, I haven't particularly enjoyed having my mental state being altered. I haven't felt like it's been safe to have, everyone in the group be drunk. I haven't enjoyed the taste. I've not wanted to do something or say something that I later wouldn't be able to fully stand behind. The list goes on. And I've seen the good and the bad that can come from drinking. The bad being trouble, where alcohol has been involved, friends fighting, couples fighting, regrets, anxiety. I've seen people turn into completely different people. The good being having a lot of fun and good memories and tons of laughter at times. And it's interesting to think about how the reasons for drinking have changed over time. When I was younger, it was all about the excitement of alcohol. It was the fun, it was the everyone is doing it, it was wanting to feel young and wild and free and thinking nothing or very little of the potential consequences. Growing into adulthood, alcohol was no longer about wanting to feel drunk and wild. It became more about a cozy thing, like having a glass of wine with a friend or a dinner or a date or something like that. So why don't I drink? Why did I decide to quit? So beginning of this year, I decided I didn't want to drink alcohol anymore, given that I'm not a drinker anyway and will only really have a drink or two, mostly on special occasions. It seemed like a fairly easy challenge, but I was still curious, how it would or wouldn't affect my life. And so here's why I decided to do it. Whenever I drink, I don't sleep well. And I'm in a place in my life where I really value my sleep. Now look, I didn't when I was, 18. I was fine partying all night, falling asleep with my makeup on, getting 0 hours of actual deep sleep, and then getting up in the morning and having fast food for breakfast. Like, I've been there, but I'm not there now. I want to thoroughly do my nighttime routine, fall asleep peacefully, get my 8 hours, and wake up feeling refreshed. It's a great luxury, and I'm just not willing to do that transaction, to trade all of that for a few drinks. And I'm just typically not willing to borrow happiness from tomorrow. I want to be available, trustworthy, and reliable. I never want to be in a situation where someone needs me and I'm not able to show up because I'm not sober. I feel like this is becoming increasingly important to me the older I get. As mentioned earlier, I don't want to be in a situation where I can't remember something or where I said or did something that I can't fully stand behind. Even after only 1 or 2 drinks, you might act in a way that you wouldn't if you were sober. If you're on a date, for example, those drinks could make you come off as more interested than you actually are. I want to be what I want to attract in terms of friends, romance, life, all of that. If I have kids one day, I don't want alcohol consumption to be normalized in our household. I don't want holidays to be associated with drunk adults. It just seems to me like alcohol doesn't align with those goals. As an adult, it's still tempting sometimes to have a drink, to calm nerves, to relax, to become more social, and to feel more confident. Those social perks I hope to find sober. I want to learn to like who I am when I'm myself. And so far, I've never regretted not having a drink. I simply have no interest in alcohol, at least right now. Will I become a wine enthusiast in a year and travel through Italy and France to explore wine tasting? Will I get invited to an event tomorrow and be offered this really exciting drink? I don't know. you know, who knows, life can take some pretty interesting turns. So, you know, I don't want to say I will never drink alcohol ever again, because it does seem like a big commitment, even if at this very moment, I kind of feel like I won't. But I wanted to share my experience with you and why I choose not to drink alcohol. Not to say that my way of doing it is right, not to say that you or anyone should do what I'm doing. We all do what works for us, and right now, this is what works for me. Now, what works for you? I would love to read your thoughts and your experiences on this topic in the comment section. And don't forget to check out BetterHelp. Alright, talk to you soon.